Okay, classes, the video goes along with the notes for Unit 1.3 called Rewriting Equations. Another way to say it is literal equations, and that usually reads something like, solve this equation for one variable or another. Students often have a hard time with this because they see two variables, and they don't like two variables nearly as much as they like one. They want to solve for one thing, not the other. So you're going to end up solving for y in terms of x. Solving for y in terms of x. I'm going to add 2y to both sides so that I get positive y values. The 18 and the 2y are unlike terms. I cannot combine them. I don't care what order I write them in because the 18 and the 2 are going to go away anyway. Now subtract 18 from both sides. Once again, unlike terms, so I have 8x minus 18 equals 2y. Divide both sides by 2. When you do that, every single term gets divided by 2. So that's going to be 1y, or y, and this is going to be 4x minus 9. So y equals 4x minus 9. That is a perfectly good answer. If you absolutely must have the variable that you solve for on the left side, that's okay. Just swap sides. Y equals 4x minus 9 is also an okay answer. Now, take a moment and you try this one on your own. Pause the video right now. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, did you get it right? I did the same thing as last time. I added the 5y to both sides because I wanted the y's to be positive, and then it was only one step from there. I got to get rid of the 5. What's the 5 doing to the y? It's multiplying the y. How do you get rid of that? You divide everything by that 5. So 3/5 x plus 11/5 equals y. Okay, next two. These are so similar, you know. I want you to just go try them. So once again, pause the video and come back, and as soon as this loads, you're going to see my solutions. Okay, let me explain. I did a couple things just a tiny bit different. This first step is the way I started them out before. I wanted my y's to be positive, so I added the 3y to both sides. I subtracted 14. The different thing here is I added this little step in here just to show you that you can. You divide both sides by 3. So instead of making it look just like this and ending it, I'm going to divide the entire side, x minus 14, divided by 3. So you can do that. You just have to realize that they are the same thing, and here's another case of these are the same thing. X divided by 3 is the same thing as 1/3 x. So any of these are the correct answer, and if you just want to get rid of that 3/3, this is also an acceptable answer. If it said x minus 14 all over 3 equals y. So same deal over here, except for I chose not to add 2y to both sides. It's not a big deal. Did it save me a step? Probably did. Probably saved me a step. So I subtract 7 from both sides, get x minus 7 equals negative 2y, divide both sides by negative 2y, so this becomes positive. Now this would become a negative 1/2 x, or negative x over 2, and this becomes a positive 7/2. So an answer like this is perfectly good. B is equal to 2a divided by h. Now in this one, area equals pi r squared. You have a square next to the variable that you're solving for. So you are going to end this problem with a square root. But first, we're going to divide both sides by pi. So a, or area, divided by pi will equal r squared, because the pi's will cancel out on both sides. So we're going to take a square root to cancel out a square. A square root cancels out a square. Now we have to balance it on both sides. So the square root cancels out the square on the right, And so we have an r left over. On the left-hand side, the square root of a over pi. Now, I just want to let you know for being correct, for the sake of being correct, that when you cancel out a square with a square root, you must put plus or minus. But as this is an area formula and we're solving for a radius, the length of a radius cannot be negative, so we'll just ignore the fact that it was plus or minus. Okay, the problem on the bottom, we need a little bit more room. We're solving for b sub 1, and just like in the previous problem, where we had that 1/2, we're going to cancel out the 1/2 by doing the same thing. We're going to multiply by the least common multiple, which is 2. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2. Now it looks a little trickier in number 7. The right side had a lot more things going on, but it isn't really. We're just going to do the following. 2 times 1/2 is 1, and 1 times the b sub 1 plus b sub 2 times h is just b sub 1 plus b sub 2 times h. Multiply anything you want by 1, and it's just whatever that thing was. So it's as if the 1/2 just goes away. So on the other side we will have a 2a because we need to balance the equation. We multiplied the right by 2 and multiply the left by 2. You could distribute the h to the b sub 1 plus b sub 2, but you don't have to. You could divide everything by h and you'll get 2a over h is equal to b sub 1 plus b sub 2. We're solving for b sub 1. We have to get rid of the b sub 2. It's being added to the b sub 1, so we're going to subtract b sub 2 from both sides. I'm going to rewrite this because it doesn't look so good. 2a minus h all over b equals b sub 1. Ooh, b sub 1. I forgot the 2, so I'm going to write that up there. And I'm going to write it right here, right where my final answer is. So 2a divided by h minus b sub 2 is equal to b sub 1. I want to start number 8, or even finish number 8. We're going to solve for r. So I'm going to do this in one step. The p and the t are both multiplying the r, so you can undo them both at the same time. Divide both sides by the product, p times t. So I get, that is an I, by the way, it is not a 1. I should have changed the font, but I equals PRT is your simple interest formula. Perhaps you knew. I over PT is equal to R. And there we go. One step, and we have our answer. Now take a moment and try the other two. Okay, now I have not finished both of these, but I did want to show you that in number 9 it's kind of like number 8. You're solving for b, you got to get rid of the mx. That mx is being added to b, so you're going to subtract the mx from both sides. You didn't really have a choice in number 9 like you did in number 8. You really got to know that you have to do minus mx all at once in one step from both sides. Now I know that m and x are multiplying each other, but that wasn't important. It's what they're doing to the b. They're being added to the b. So you subtract mx from both sides and you get y minus mx equals b. That one was actually done. But in number 10, I saved the last step. This is a very common formula, the Fahrenheit to Celsius conversion. You're going to subtract 32 from both sides, and that will leave you with f minus 32 equals 9/5 c. Now you should know that you can get rid of, cancel out, simplify the 9/5 all in one step by multiplying by the reciprocal. So multiply both sides by 5/9. On the left side, the 5/9 has to multiply the quantity f minus 32, so you need parentheses around that f minus 32. So your final answer should read C is equal to 5/9 times the quantity, f minus 32. Okay, I want you to try 11 and 12 on your own, so pause the video and come back and you'll see some answers. Okay, these both started off the same. I have a variable in the case of number 11 or a constant in the case of number 12 that's in the denominator, where in the numerator there's the variable I want to solve for. So you've got to cancel out that letter or that number that's in the denominator. So number 11, multiply both sides by r to cancel out the r on the left. And 1 times r is r. And that leaves you with x plus z minus w equals r. Now you're solving for z. So you can get rid of the x and the w all at once. You can think of it as x is being added to the z and negative w is being added to the z. Now a note about that answer is that is not the only way it could have been written. It could have been written as w plus r minus x in that order, or r plus w minus x in that order. You really had a choice there. So number 12, we're going to multiply both sides by 2 to cancel out the 2 in the denominator and balance the equation, and we'll have just the numerator remaining on the left. So x plus y equals 2a. Subtract x from both sides and you get y equals 2a minus x.